An entitled girl used my pool every day without asking, so I made it the most miserable summer of her life. My backyard pool was this beautiful oasis I'd spent 3 years perfecting, and some influencer wannabe decided it was her personal photo studio. 4 months of her treating my property like a public beach. I'd been tolerant. Then she brought her entire sorority over for a photo shoot, and gave me the opportunity I'd been unconsciously craving. I came home from my shift at the hospital, dead on my feet after a 12-hour emergency rotation, only to find 15 girls in bikinis sprawled across my pool deck. Not just swimming, full production mode with ring lights and tripods. The private property fence might as well have been written in invisible ink. I stood there in my scrubs, watching them use my pool floaties as props. 4 months of being the passive neighbor had officially expired. Around 7 p.m. after they'd finally cleared out, she knocked on my door like we were old friends. I opened it to find her in a terry cloth cover-up, still dripping chlorine water on my porch. No apology, no acknowledgement, just immediately launching into instructions. She actually told me I needed to not come home tomorrow until after 11 p.m. because she had a major brand collaboration happening, and my presence today had ruined the vibe. The audacity in her voice made my eye twitch. I stared at her, wondering if I'd heard correctly. She was standing on my porch, dripping my pool water, telling me to vacate my own property. When I said it was my house and my pool, she did this little hair flip, actually flipped her bleached extensions at me, like I was being difficult. She explained that the previous owner always let them use it, and she'd already committed to this shoot. I told her she couldn't use my pool anymore. Her face scrunched up into this practiced pout before she said the 5 words that ignited my petty soul. You can't actually stop me. Those words activated something primal in my brain. 4 months of restraint, 4 months of finding strangers in my backyard, 4 months of sharing is caring bullshit, but challenging me to stop her after demanding I leave my own home. I watched her saunter off, already texting her group chat. Through my window, I saw her posing for a selfie with my pool in the background. Perfect. I was ready to destroy her summer. The next morning, 6 a.m. sharp, I started my new pool maintenance routine. Shock treatments that turned the water cloudy white. pH adjustments that made it smell like a chemistry lab. The legal maximum of chlorine that wouldn't get me sued, but would bleach any fabric that touched it. She showed up at noon with her camera and what looked like professional equipment. Took one look at the murky water and left, but she came back the next day. So I got creative. I installed a new security system. Motion-activated sprinklers that just happened to spray directly onto the pool deck. Watched from my kitchen as she got soaked mid-pose, her phone barely surviving. She screamed something about water damage. I just waved and mouthed property protection. She tried to adapt. Came earlier, so I started morning algae treatments. Came later, so I scheduled evening pool vacuuming that ran for 3 hours straight. The mechanical whirring killed any possible aesthetic. Her Instagram engagement must have been tanking because her visits got desperate. One day she brought a professional photographer. I chose that exact moment to clean my pool filter, sending brown sediment cascading through the water like a sewage explosion. The photographer took one look and left. She stood there in her designer bikini, watching her perfect shot turn into swamp water. By week 3, she tried guerrilla tactics. Snuck in at sunrise for golden hour shots, but I'd installed smart lights on timers, strobing LEDs that activated randomly, ruining any long exposure. She tried night swimming for those aesthetic underwater shots. I added pool dye that turned the water an aggressive neon green. Her followers probably thought she was swimming in nuclear waste. Her friends tried intervening. One offered to pay for pool access. Another said her follower count was dropping and this was affecting her career. I just kept testing my chlorine levels, nodding sympathetically while adding another gallon of shock treatment. Labor Day weekend was my grand masterpiece. She planned some massive influencer pool party. Must have invited 30 people. I'd heard her organizing it for weeks, promising everyone the hidden gem pool. The night before, I drained it completely. Just a big empty concrete hole. Told people I'd found a crack that needed repairs. She showed up with her entire crew to find me and a contractor discussing imaginary structural damage. The contractor was my buddy, but she didn't need to know that. Watching 30 influencers in designer swimwear stare at an empty pool was better than cable. Her meltdown was spectacular. Full screaming about ruined collaborations, lost sponsorships, demanding I fill it immediately. I explained pool repairs were serious business, could take weeks. Then I offered, real friendly like, that the public pool was just 3 blocks away. She actually stomped her foot like a toddler. Her crew dispersed, probably unfollowing her in real time. I refilled the pool that night. The next morning, I listed the house. Not because of her. I'd actually gotten a job offer in another state, but the timing was poetry. She knocked one last time, probably thinking she'd won. I opened the door, holding a sold sign. Told her the new owners were moving in next month, and I'd heard they were converting the pool to a koi pond. The sound she made wasn't quite human, more like a deflating balloon filled with rage.